Welcome to the uni-max workshop. This time I want to show you how to use a table saw to cut a long piece like this into several equally long or rather short pieces so that it is precise, comfortable and also safe. In any case, we will actually indeed need an angle guide like this one, which we will set to 90 degrees, so a right angle. And if we need to cut some additional pieces, we can use the stop directly on the guide. However, if we wanted to cut short pieces, firstly, we would have very little support, and at the same time, our hand would get uncomfortably close to the blade. So at that precise moment, we use the guide without this stop and place a stop on the opposite side of the blade. We can either use a rip fence with a push stick or a magnetic stop. Most people might think of using the rip fence, but without a push stick. And that's pretty dangerous because the moment you cut through the material, the piece you're working on ends up wedged between the blade and the rip fence, and it usually gets stuck and shoots back at you. So definitely not like that. You always need to use a push stick. I have a piece of flooring board with a thickness of 20 mm, and I have it secured using Rockler universal clamps. You can use any other clamp, but you have to be aware that it might get in the way on that side. The handy thing about these clamps is that they tuck right into the material. It is good to choose an easily memorable thickness, so that you can use the scale on your saw and simply subtract or add the thickness of the push stick. And be careful, this is very important. The push stick must always end before the material is cut through, because otherwise it would again lead to binding and dangerous kickback. So ideally the push stick should end before the blade starts. This same condition applies if you use any magnetic stop. I don't have anything special, these are all things I use in the workshop for other purposes, but they are also useful if you have a saw with a cast iron table. Be careful, it obviously doesn't hold on aluminum. This is a magnetic stand used to screw on a dial indicator holder and also a cooling holder for machining tools. And on the same principle, meaning a switchable magnet, this welding angle welding magnet also works. You turn off the magnet and place it on the table so that you can move it and measure the distance from the blade. Then you turn the magnet back on and it holds firmly as a stop. The advantage of this solution is greater versatility. You can place it anywhere on the surface of the table, whether to the right or left of the blade. I also use this block as a stop on the band saw when making longitudinal cuts, whether for tenons or grooves, to ensure everything is at the same depth. The main advantage, however, is that you have to measure the distance each time, whereas with the push stick on the rip fence, you can easily adjust it precisely according to the ruler on the saw. So next time you need to cut a very long piece into several equally long or short pieces, you now know how to do it comfortably, with great accuracy, and safely, easily. You can find links to all the products as usual in the description below the video. Thanks for watching, have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you in the uni-max workshop.